Alright, light them up because it's about to start. This is Who the Hell Are You? Episode Who Gives a Fuck right now, because I'm about to have someone on here that I didn't think that I would have on. Someone that I thought that... Someone for a while that I thought I hated. For looking back, I have no reason. Like, I just can't even comprehend why. And then I thought that he hated me, and he might have. We can find things out like that. But he actually... Whenever I was in the South by Southwest Music Festival, his girlfriend came up to me and said, hey, he really wants to be on your podcast. He has some stuff he needs to say. And I was like, well, I was already going to go ask him since we were at the same event. But that's awesome that he actually wants to be on. It's a man named Clayton Drugan, and I call him Chauncey. It's hard saying that. It's hard saying that Chauncey's coming to my house to have a conversation. You go through life and you make fucking mistakes and you fuck up and you burn bridges, and then these bridges start to build themselves again. And it's really weird. Like, I thought that I had this hard part of my life saying sorry to all these people, but it's really them for having to accept it, because I was just being such a piece of crap, with being just like this super macho hardcore dude. And like, I'm not even that at all. If you know me, you're like, oh, you don't even look like that, which is true. But I was acting like it, and I thought, oh, well, they don't come to shows anymore, they're just fucking stupid. They don't come to shows anymore because of me and my breakup, and all these stupid things, that just weren't it at all. GoFundMe.com/GeekersNetwork. That's where you can find us, and you can help us out with everything that we need. If you want to go there, you can, just donate any amount of money that you can. That's all I have to say about that. Alright, so this week, it's been pretty cool for me. I just got back from this 2-week vacation. I had the South by Southwest episode. If you didn't get to hear that, check that out. Got tons of interviews, made tons of great friends. And then I went to Lubbock, and I recorded one with James, who I always talk about, my good friend James Cordero. Man, what a crazy conversation to have someone who's like one of the toughest men you've ever met in your life sit there and break down and get so emotional and actually have a real conversation that wasn't just full of jokes and stuff. I mean, like, yes, there's humor in there because it's us. I mean, like, that's just how we interact. But the man was just so open about everything. He came on knowing the format of the show and knowing what he wanted to talk about, get off his chest. And if you're a musician out there, artist of any kind, whatever, that's what this show is. It's a place for you to come get things off your mind, get things off your chest. It works out. GoFundMe.com/GeekersNetwork. Go there, spend $5, spend $1, spend whatever you want. Spend 50 cents, and you know what that 50 cents goes to? Goes to a PayPal. Goes to a PayPal where we can buy wigs, where we can buy camera equipment, where we can buy recording equipment. We can get everything better. Some people might not like that this recording quality is on my phone. I think that it comes out fine, but also at the same time, I would love to have some recording equipment. So if you could just help us out with that, that would be phenomenal. Alright, so let's get into it. This is going to be Clayton Drugan. His name's Chauncey. Alright, man, so how's it going today?
Pretty well. Same shit, different day.
Yeah?
Just work, and now I'm here.
Oh, dude, nice. Were you working at Vital Signs still?
Vital Signs still. Been there for like 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is it that you do there? It's like a screen printing shop, right?
No, it's... Now I'm doing more like big stuff. I'm doing like car wraps and shit like that. Basically kind of like a production manager.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily like a boss or anything like that, but like I'm kind of over of like what comes in and out, and like what I guess kind of what like people are doing and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, cool. So like, is it an art form? Like, do you consider it?
Rapping is. That part of it is. Mm-hmm. That's the part that I actually like. And that's pretty much like what's keeping me there. But yeah, for sure, because like most people like look at stuff like that and they just think, it's a big fucking sticker on a car, which essentially it is. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, if you haven't learned or been taught, like it's not like it I don't know. It's not like a simple thing. It's
I mean, yeah, like I believe like an art form is something that you have to put work into, and if you're sitting there for like hours doing tedious little like scraping the bubbles out, right?
Yeah, like I mean, it's seriously like the most tedious thing that I've ever done. I was wrapping a truck today, and like there's like these like handles, it's like on a toolbox or whatever, and like I like slipped on with my knife, and I literally like. The customer's never, ever, ever going to see it, but, like, I cut away part of, like, an 1/8 inch of the wrap, and, like, nobody, I even showed my boss and my wife, and, like, nobody will ever notice it, but it bothers the shit out of me, just because I'm such a perfectionist.
Okay.
And, like, kind of how you're saying, like, it is, like, an art form, like, I don't know. Like it's something that I want to be good at.
Yeah.
And so it's something that like I try really hard at, and I'm kind of hard on myself when it comes to it too. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like we didn't turn into Mona Lisa with a fucking splotch on it.
True.
I mean,
Very
it's
true.
just how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if a podcast doesn't come out recorded well, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, we got to repeat information, but we're re-recording this.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's something that means a lot to you. You got to work for it.
Exactly.
So I've always like wondered about you. You're honestly one of the funniest people I know.
Not true.
No, so
Not
true.
true.
Like whenever, and it's not like you don't try. Like with like me and Tanner and stuff, like we're always trying because that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Is make people laugh. But like you just like could be there and just say something spontaneous, and it's like you weren't even trying to make anyone laugh, and it happens, and that's.
Man, I totally disagree. I've always. Like, I used to struggle with wanting to be funny because I was never the funny guy. Mm-hmm. But, like, I finally just, like, came to the point, or I guess to the realization that, like, I'm not just, like, a naturally funny guy or, like, whatever. So, like, now I'm the guy that, like, sits in the back of the room and, like, laughs at everybody else. And, like, I'm totally cool with that. But,
no, yeah, I think...
Thank you. But
I think realizing that, like, oh, man, I don't want to keep on trying to be funny. That's what lets you come out and be funny.
Maybe.
I mean, because, there's people like me and Tanner, so we just have, like, I'm not saying, like, we're great comedians or anything like that, but we just have that part of our brain open up to where we can write.
Yeah.
And things are just, we're always criticizing things for humor.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gotten to the point in our lives where we criticize things only for humor. Like, we have no hate. It's just, like, it's funny.
For sure.
And, I don't know, like, I feel like for people like you, who've spent so many years trying, once you just let go of that, that's whenever it truly comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what does comedy mean anything to you at all?
No, probably not. Not like, I mean, not more than like the average person, I guess. I think like whenever I think of comedy, honestly, I think of George Carlin because that dude didn't give a fuck.
Nice.
And I love that guy, but like. I guess when it really comes down to it, like, it's not, like, a big part of my life. Like, I enjoy, like, a comedy, just as much like the next guy, but it's not, like, it hasn't ever been, like, a big part of my life or anything like that.
George Carlin is actually, like, a huge inspiration to me, especially, like, for this show, because, like, I mean, part of the things that, like, we've talked about, like, in past episodes is, like, the rules of comedy, if there is any.
Yeah.
Because Matt and Trey from South Park, they say, either it's all okay or none of it's okay.
Yeah.
And George Carlin was pretty much the first person to be like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'll make a rape joke if I want,
yeah.
and then I'll make a joke about God and stuff. What do you think? Do you think that there's any lines that people shouldn't cross? You can be completely honest, too.
Man, that's tough, honestly. Man, I really don't know how to answer that question.
I mean, it's hard to think about, because
it really is.
You think about a woman like in the audience, is a rape victim and stuff. And they hear that joke, and sometimes they don't understand that like you're going into a comedy place to have all that pain taken away from you.
Yeah,
like that's why like Joan Rivers did a set right after 9/11, and she had nothing but 9/11 jokes.
Yeah,
to take everyone's mind off of that.
See, I can totally see that. I don't know. That's something that I feel like I've talked to people about this a little bit, but like to an extent, I feel like there shouldn't be a line drawn because I mean, I mean, it's comedy. It's supposed to be funny, but I think I don't know. It kind of reminds me of just like the fucking like Tumblr activists that like you don't do rape jokes and you don't joke about this and you don't joke about that, and it's just like okay, maybe, but like it's comedy and it's supposed to be funny. But at the same time, like, I get it, too. You know what I mean? So, like, I guess, can't go like either way. And I feel like I fall on that line like a lot, and towards a lot of things in life. Is like not necessarily like I believe one way or the other, but like I'm just like right in the middle. You know what I mean?
Okay, nice.
Like I guess I can like understand like both point of views, but like I'm not gonna be the person to be like, okay, this is like correct and like this is wrong. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like whenever like I say things like that, like a comedian making a rape joke, it's definitely never like, oh, and then I'm gonna rape you tonight. Like that's wrong. Like that's not honest comedy or anything like that. But like if you can somehow make it to where like someone, especially like a rape victim, just goes like, ha. Yeah. Then that just like takes a little bit of that away from them, and it makes them forget about all the pain. Yeah. And I don't know, like I mean, I don't ever like in my stand-up set, I don't have any rape jokes like that just because that's not my style. Yeah. And like sometimes I wish I could just because I like to take stuff away. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, all of my stories are just sex. Yeah. just what's good old consent.
What's the guy from Parks and Rec, Aziz
Ansari?
Aziz Ansari.
Yeah.
His like recent thing that came out on Netflix. Mm-hmm. He had a joke about like pedophilia. Yeah. And when he first said it, I was like, oh fuck, but I thought it was funny. It was funny as shit. So I guess like when it comes to stuff like that, like I'm gonna laugh. Like I think it's funny. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not gonna be the person to be like, you should have said that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Definitely. Like I don't know. I don't draw that line.
Do you feel a little bit of like at that moment? Did you feel any guilt, like as you were laughing?
Maybe a little bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe like, should I not laugh at that, or should he have not have said that? At the same time, it's just like it's funny. Like,
oh, dude, I know it. I mean, I went through that a lot this year, and like I'm finally to the point where like I guess like I'm a stone to it all. Yeah. Just because like I've dived into comedy, like even the structure of it, like I've sat there and listened to people talk about forming a joke now. Yeah. Like and where you should put a punchline and stuff. I mean, it's like a science to me, kind of. Yeah. And so I've just hardened myself to those jokes and stuff. And I mean, if it's not funny, I'm not gonna laugh. Yeah. But like my whole thing is, you can always just walk away. Like you don't have to listen to that comedian. Exactly. Just like you don't have to listen to a satanic band if you don't want to, or a Christian band.
Man, people are offended way too easily nowadays.
Oh,
so.
Dude, it's very true. I mean, I've seen comedians like take a word that I hate. The faggot. I hate that word.
I hate that word too.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, I'll say it though because it's not fucking Voldemort.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like I hate that word, but I've seen comedians use it, and it's like, oh, that's so funny. Like, have you ever watched the show Louie?
No, I haven't.
I highly recommend the second episode of the first season for everyone because it's a scene where everyone's playing poker and there's a gay man at the table, and I believe it's Nick DiPaolo who's like kind of known as like a right wing comedian and stuff. Yeah. And he's sitting there and he's saying faggot and stuff, and the gay guy looks at him and so he's like, it doesn't offend me, but let me tell you what it means to some people. Yeah. And like I just think that's so smart.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
So, are you still playing music of any kind, or?
Not really. Every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Me and basically the guys in Oakwood jammed a couple weeks ago. Okay. And we got one song out, and with as busy as like everybody is in that band, it's hard to like get everybody together. Because like TJ's a nurse, and like Noah just started working at a place, and like Matt's going to school, and so like I don't even see how they do it like as like just Oakwood, but so other than that, no, not really. It's really not as big a part of my life as it used to be, unfortunately. But
see, I'd always heard that like whenever you stopping and moving forward is because like you got the bigger position at Vital Signs and stuff. Is that the truth?
Yeah, it is. Okay. Basically, what it came down to is they were like going to be leaving for tour. It was somewhere between like 2 weeks and like a month or something like that. And I actually had a job offer in San Antonio. And I also had like the opportunity to move up to where I'm at now. Okay. So basically it came down to like either I'm going to, move up where I'm at now and not be able to leave, for 2 weeks or a month or however long that tour was, or I'm moving to San Antonio and like I can't do it either way. You know what I mean? And so what I wanted to do was, instead of being like, keep doing what I was doing and then being like, all right, guys, sorry, like I can't go on tour, like as soon as, they're ready to leave, like I wanted to give them time to like figure their shit out because, I wanted to be fair about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And, I mean, definitely not what I wanted to do, but it's just a part of growing up, which is shitty, but...
Oh, no, most definitely. I mean, like, you gotta leave behind, like, all that kind of stuff one day.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I realize that, like, I'm not gonna be playing shows every time, like, every day of my life, but while I can make it happen, I will.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, but I can honestly see it coming to a close for me, too, soon.
Yeah.
But it's just life.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like you have to be passionate about something, too, for sure. Like, you know, I don't do music, you know, as much, but, like, I'm climbing now, and I feel like that's kind of what, that's, like, what I replaced it with, you know what I mean?
Oh, is that your, like, vice now?
It is. I mean...
I've seen you do that stuff, and if people don't know, he used to be a tub of lard. I'm kidding.
No, basically, no, for real.
But he used to be a chunkier man. Like, I mean,
yeah,
a tub of lard is like...
No, but
you were a chunkier man, and now you're sitting in front of me just, like... fit,
yeah,
like breathing fine and stuff. You know, like what is that like?
I went from when I graduated high school, I was 210, and I'm down to like 173 now. So I've lost.
You got a bug on you.
I've lost like 40 pounds. Yeah, like just the fact of like that I actually started working, and then like getting married and. Which is really weird because when you get married, like, you're supposed to gain weight, but I just continue losing. And then climbing. So, like, collectively, like, it all just, you know, helped me lose weight, which is pretty badass. And now I'm on, like, not necessarily, like, a health kick, but, like, climbing is just, like, what I want to do now. Like, I'm super stoked on it. Like, I'm, like, me and Matt, there was a month that we literally went every weekend. Like, we were either in Lubbock or Fort Davis, like, one or the other. And like I even I have like fucking climbing wall in my backyard, and you know, like a training board like in my house and stuff like that. So like I pretty much went all out, but I mean, like, I kind of had to though, because like I did music ever since I was like 14 or 15, and then like, you know, over the past year, I guess 2 years, you know, it was like, okay, I'm not doing music anymore, so what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody has to be passionate about something, but, like, it, like, bummed me out, because I was like, man, like, I don't have anybody to play music with anymore, like, you know, this fucking sucks, like, whatever. And, like, now I'm doing climbing, and it's kind of something that, like, I'm super passionate about, but it's cool, too, because, like, I don't necessarily have to, like, rely on other people to do it. Like, I can, like, do it myself, you know what I mean?
Okay, cool. Nice.
So.
Dude. So, I mean, you know how you said, like, you're supposed to gain weight in a marriage. It's obviously not a stressful marriage then. Has it been going good?
No, it's been fucking great, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's been
that's
really, really awesome, for sure. Definitely, like, honestly, the best thing that's ever happened to me. The hardest thing that I've ever done, by far.
Oh.
The whole, like, romanticizing marriage and love and all that, that's bullshit. Sorry, but it's bullshit. Like, I just want everybody to know that. Marriage is the hardest fucking thing that you will ever do in your entire life. Guarantee it.
Really? It's like the whole process of, like, getting it planned out? Or
no, just, like, being married. Like,
really?
Because, like, I guess I keep going back to Tumblr, but, I mean, it's just people in general. It's just like, oh, I can't wait to, like, meet this person, and then, like, you know, like, spend, like, Saturday mornings with them, and, like, you know, in our fucking underwear, drinking coffee. Yeah, and, like, and then, like, you know, and, like, I can't wait to, like, cuddle, and, like, people think they're going to be fixed, or, like, life is going to get better, like, whenever they find somebody. And, man, that's, like, it's not necessarily true. Like, obviously, my life has, like, obviously gotten better, but, like, and I've become a better person. Man, marriage is hard, and, like, but it's, like, also the most rewarding thing that I've ever done, ever. I mean, just for example, like, how I've become better, like, I always used to be, very passive, like, to the point of where, like, I would let people walk all over me. Okay. And they say that, like, the longer that you're together with your spouse, you start becoming like your spouse. And Amber is very not passive. Like, she's a go-getter, and, like, you're not gonna walk all over her. Gets it done. You know, like, like, if she's, like, starting a new job, like, she'll do something, and instead of, like, you about, you know, what I do next, like, she's just gonna fucking find something to do and do it.
Yeah.
And so, but, like, I guess, like she's, you know, taught me, and I guess, like, I've learned from her, And like, I mean, just in my job, like I was miserable for so long, and it's because I let people walk all over me, and you know, I was just fucking miserable. And I guess from learning from her, and and other things in life, I've just learned to not be like that. And whenever like people are shitty, or like, and whenever, I guess I've like learned to draw boundaries. Like I don't let people walk all over me. And but I mean, yeah, marriage is awesome, but it is the hardest thing that you will ever do, ever. It's still like, I see people all the time, romanticize like relationships and stuff like that, and it kind of sucks because like I feel like most people are going to end up in relationships and in marriages, and it's not going to turn out the way that they thought it was going to be, and like then they're going to be stuck in a marriage that they don't want to be in.
Well, you're not really helping people out with that, because you have the most romantic story I've ever heard.
Just a little bit.
Nah, do you want to dive into that? Like how you and Amber came about?
Yeah, sure. We were friends. Well, she moved down here from California, Arizona, and we met, and we were just friends, and she ended up getting kicked out of her mom's house and having to move back to California, or her biological mom's house, to move back with her adopted mom. And she was like, yeah, you totally have to come visit me, kind of like joking. I was like, all right, like I will, like I'll come visit you.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I really will. And she was like, promise? I was like, yeah, like I'll fucking do it. And so she ended up leaving for California, and I think it was like a week or 2 weeks later, like I fucking booked my flight, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be down there like basically Christmas Eve. And she was like, all right, hell yeah. And I think I was there for like 11 days. And we kind of just hung out, and like there was a lot of other stuff going on. Like that 2 weeks, like she was pregnant and ended up having a miscarriage. Not my kid, but I guess like going through that too, but like helped take our friendship from like more from just a friendship to more. But we just, I don't know, I guess like we loved each other then, and like we didn't necessarily like know it. But she had like the miscarriage like the first like 3 days that I was there or something like that. So I was there for like a week after, and like we did whatever, like California shit, went to the beach or Venice Beach, and all on the coast, and did cool shit. And then I flew back on the 5th, and towards like the end of the trip, like I was like, why don't you move back with me? And she was like, okay. So I came back on the 5th, and she flew in on the 7th. And we kind of just said, okay, we're going to figure things out from here, and if they work, they work, and if they don't, they don't.
Where did she go to live?
We moved in together.
Automatically?
Automatically.
I didn't even think about that, man.
No, like we moved in together like automatically, because...
Weren't you still with your parents at the time, too?
Yeah, I was. Like she moved into like my parents' house with me, like into my room. And we were there January and February. I think it was the beginning of March that we moved like into our own place. And so like we went from, it's really weird because we went, from friends to like moving together. Like we didn't have like the dating stage like most everybody else does, which is really weird. But we were just like, all right, let's see what happens. Like we don't really have like any other options other than like a long distance relationship. Like we don't want that. So, like, let's give it a shot. If it works out, it does. And if it doesn't work out, like, it doesn't. But let's try.
So punk.
Yeah. It was really weird, too, because I'm not the type of person that, like, makes decisions like that, like, on a whim. But... Oh,
dude, like, I mean, from our point of view, everyone was like, what the hell's going on?
No, and I totally
I remember people come talk to me, and I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't told me a thing, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, it definitely was, man. It was, like... It was very unexpected. It was not thought out, and it was not planned, and it really was. It was on a fucking whim. And so we were at my parents' house for like 2 months, and then we moved into our own place. And things just went from there. We lived together / dated for like a year, and then I proposed in like November of, I guess it was like the November of that year, I guess. Yeah, I think that's right. And then we got married in April of last year, so next month we'll be married a year. So
Nice.
yeah, it's totally, I think it's very one of those things that's very rare, but somehow I was lucky enough for it to work out. So
Oh, man, dude, that's so awesome. I mean, that is romanticizing it, man.
I mean,
you're a fucking Nicholas Sparks book.
well, I don't necessarily like whenever I talk about like romanticizing, I feel like people think that their life is going to get like people are like down or like hate their lives whenever like being single, or they hate being single. But like they think that they like whenever they get married, like life is just automatically going to become better, and that's just not the case. Like life is just as hard whenever you find like somebody. Like it's just as hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kids. Like having kids is the same way. Like so many people so people get married, and then they'll be married for like a year or two or whatever, and like the marriage will kind of like start dwindling, and it's like not as good as it used to be. So like, okay, well, we'll have kids, and maybe it'll like fill this like space in our relationship. And they have kids, and they fucking regret it. Like, and I feel like, and that's not necessarily true for everybody, but like I know a lot of people who have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's just all just like age though, because like I mean I remember just like 2 years ago I was definitely like that. Just like, oh, I hate being single and all this shit, and just like being just like a depressed little bitch.
Yeah.
But like I was writing music the other day. I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm gonna have to say the lyrics in front of people one day, so I might as well say them now. It's like I said, depression goes from crying aloud to just being down. Like as you get older, depression goes from crying aloud to just being down.
For sure.
Which is meaning like as you're young, you're just gonna be like, woe is me, this world's out to fucking get me. I hate it all, and then you're just like, as you get older, you're just like, oh well, I'm sad today.
Yeah, like you learn to accept it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the reason that I say that, and I guess like I want to get that point across, is because I was that person that like I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because not necessarily because I was like the chubby guy, but like I was like the shy chubby guy who like I don't know. Like I never had like many girlfriends. I had like one serious relationship when I was like fucking 14. Like I was always, I was like, man, like I want a girlfriend, like I want to be in a relationship, whatever. Like life would be so much better. And then like I'm not gonna be depressed anymore or whatever. And like that's just not the case, man. Like I still go through, depressive like modes or states or whatever. And I've been married for like a year and a half. Like it's not like I just think people like don't realize that like marriage is just like not marriage, but just like growing up period is like work. And I guess I would compare it to like, how like when you're like 10 or 12 and you're like, oh, I can't fucking wait to be 18 because I'm gonna like be on my own, and like I'm gonna like I don't have to fucking listen to my parents and blah blah blah. And you turn 18 and you have to like fucking pay bills and like you have to pay rent and life kind of sucks.
You want to be 12 again.
You want to be fucking 12 again. It's kind of like the same thing, because it's like a lot of people have like an unrealistic view of marriage. You know what I mean? I guess that's my point. And the only reason that I said, the only reason I bring it up is because like having an unrealistic view of really anything, not just marriage, like has a like possibility of like just really like fucking you up, because and like fucking a future marriage up too, because I don't know. I had so many friends that got married like right out of high school, like literally like right out of high school, and I was just like, dude, what the fuck? And like there's some of them that are like still happy and are doing great, and there's other ones that just aren't doing well. Like they're still married, but like they're not doing well, and it's because they have like an unrealistic view of marriage. I don't know. It's just I think that sucks.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, no one wants to be stuck in something where they're not happy.
Exactly.
I've taken a huge break from dating and stuff, and it kind of sucks at the same time because like I've just been having sex.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, people are like, oh, you're living the dream. And it's like, in a way, yeah, but at the same time, like, I'm more depressed because of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm also trying to figure that out, too.
That is a weird thing.
Because, like, I'm having sex with, like, great girls that are just, like, you know, there's an agreement, too. It's not like I'm leading them on.
Yeah.
Like, if at any point one of them gets feelings, I'm like, all right, then we stop.
It's done.
That's it. And, like, so far, I haven't been the one who gotten feelings at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm tearing away from trying to be in love and stuff. I'm thinking more about the fact that my parents divorced and that my stepdad and mom now, like, the only reason they're not divorced is because they don't want to split their money.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, a weird situation that I don't ever want to put myself in.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, I totally see that, too. Like, I mean, since I was, like, 16, like, up until to the point that I met Amber, I was like, I'm never fucking getting married. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever... And if I do ever get married, like, it's not going to be when I'm fucking, like, 20 or 21. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting married at 21. But, no, I totally get what you're saying. But I think stuff like that, though, where you're just having sex and, like, not, like feelings aren't supposed to be involved. I feel like it's such a weird thing. Because, one, like, it's scientifically proven that, like, there's, like, emotion and chemical, like, releases in, like, the brain whenever, like, you have sex and you have an orgasm and stuff like that. But, and, like, there's that, and then, like, I guess, like, our society teaches you that, like, well, maybe not necessarily, but, like, if you grow up in the Bible Belt, like, sex and, like, love, or sex and marriage, I'm not going to say love, sex and marriage are, like, one and the same. You know what I mean? And so, like, I guess for, like, people like us who, like, believe differently from, like, most people around here in, you know, West Texas, that's not, like, necessarily true. And so, like, it's, like, I don't know, it's really weird because, like, you kind of believe that, like, you can't, like, there's nothing wrong with having sex and, like, not having feelings or, like, just having sex with people and, like, not being with them. But at the same time, it's just, like, you're kind of, like, that's, like, you were taught that at a young age, so, like, you're still struggle with it, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, like, at the back of, like, your head.
Oh, it's weird for me, like, God, dude, there was a long time where, like, I had a list of, like, the girls Tanner had the list, actually. Tanner was who kept up with who I had sex with, because, one night, you know, like, this girl I was in a relationship with, she, like, asked me how many girls I had sex with, and I was like, I think 9. I was like, and, like, I was telling Tanner, I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm honest, and Tanner was like, well, let's name these 9. And we did that, and he was like, well, what about, and I was like, oh, yeah, and then we got to, like, 16 that night, and that was about 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, like, I did this stupid thing, like, just being, like, so depressed and stuff, and just like, I'm not going to be with anyone, I'm just going to fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like, before I turn 21, I'll have 21 girls. And I did.
Nice.
2 days before my birthday, I hit the 21.
Fuck yeah.
And then I've lost count since then, and I don't know if, like, I don't want people to say fuck yeah to that. I don't want people to live like this.
Yeah.
Because it's honestly, like, it's an addiction.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've gotten rid of, like, I haven't done pills or coke in, like, a year now. And I just smoke weed. But now I have this new vice of just having sex.
Yeah.
And, like, it's hard. And, like, I'm not an addict either. Like, I figured porn addiction would come with that, but those are two separate things.
Yeah, for sure.
Completely. Like, I mean, I masturbate probably on a normal man level.
Yeah.
But the sex, dude, is just, like, it's becoming so much. Like, at South by I had sex. Like, what is that? Like, I go out of town and I still have to fucking thrive on having sex.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it definitely it is. It's addictive, and they say too that the more you have sex, the more that you want sex as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like I don't know if you remember in school, like whenever they talked about they put the tape on the guy's arm.
Yeah.
And they're like, it just keeps getting less sticky. I feel that happen. Like I used to laugh at him, and I was like, "You're a fuck."
Dude, no, but it's true though. It
like,
is.
I can't have honest to God feelings for people right now.
I mean, it's so weird, like because, man, I don't like the whole like sex before marriage and like waiting, you know, whatever for sex and like not necessarily that like I like agree with that or like I don't necessarily like have a problem with like people having like sex like before marriage, you know what I mean? And like with multiple people or whatever. But like it is like scientifically proven that like the more that you have sex, like the more that like what you're saying, like the feelings and stuff that you have for like each person you have sex, like lessens, and that's super crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's weird. So
because a couple of the girls I've had sex with are like some of like my really good friends. You know, I love them to death, but I'm just not in love with them.
Yeah.
And one of them kind of fell for me and was like, you know, like, hey, I think I love you, and I was like, I wish I could.
Yeah.
I honestly wish I could. I just can't do this.
I think that's very mature, though.
Really?
Oh, yeah, honestly, because like, it's like, I mean. Yeah, that may have like hurt her feelings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine like if you're like, yeah, like I love you too, and then you know you guys are together for 6 months or a year, 2 years or fucking 10 years, and then you're like, yeah, I don't really love you. You know what I mean? Like that's like that would like destroy somebody.
Yeah, like more than me saying it right there.
Exactly.
Which like I don't know, it hurts so much because like I was just sitting there looking at this girl's eyes, and I'm just like, I can't be there for you.
Yeah.
And I want to, so bad. I want to fake it,
but
I'm not going to because I did it a lot whenever I was a teenager. And after having, I've been in love 3 times, and that's it. And that's how I know, like, because each time was the same.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, that's love. I haven't felt it since.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do. I think that's like the mature, you know, way to handle that situation for sure.
Thank you. I needed something like that.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is this podcast has pretty much become a place for me and other people to just open up about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a therapy session, but I don't want to pay for therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm just gonna have my friends come record. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you a podcast fan at all?
Whenever I was into church, I listened to like Christian podcasts, but other than that, like I don't really listen to podcasts. I've listened to the Joe Rogan one a couple times.
Nice.
I listen to like 2 or 3 of yours. But other than that, like it's not something that I do on like a regular basis. But I mean, every once in a while, for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's like the only thing that like got me out of a muck.
Yeah.
Where I was just like I woke up one day and I was like, I'm doing drugs every fucking day. All my friends that I actually really fucking liked are gone.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck have I done? And like, it's all just because like people like I saw people going, you know, like out of like the music scene and stuff, and I was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Because that's all I have, and how dare you walk away from that?
Yeah.
And it was mainly towards Pakey. That's why I had to have Pakey on and like have those honest conversations with him, like, you know, and get like a real good apology in there with him.
For sure.
Because like I attacked him for no fucking reason, and it's like, what was I, just like this drug addict who was depressed because he didn't want to fucking play his guitar there anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, after hearing everything he had to say about it, I realized even more, like, oh man, I was just such a fuck up at that time. But like, whenever I heard people doing podcasts, and some people who do podcasts, you know, like they're ex-addicts, and like they say, like, yeah, coming here and having the ability to talk and have at least knowing that one person's listening, it just helps and stuff. And I just got into that for like a full year, and then like one day I was like, hey Tanner, let's start a podcasting network.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And I think you said this on the podcast with Thank You. You said something to the effect of like humans, you know, need like basic conversation or something to that effect. And that's so true. Like it is. So I definitely see where like I guess like the obsession with it and stuff can come from, for sure.
Yeah. Well, since we brought up like the whole music scene and stuff, like how did you feel about like going away from that stuff? What was your? Because I mean, I guess like you didn't really walk away because you still come to shows, but like just not as much. Like, you know, you were every show goer, and then it just kind of like died down.
Yeah, it was pretty much like the same thing. Like with moving forward, like having to work, you know, more than just my normal 8 to 5, and paying bills, and you know, not being able to go to Midland like every day or every other day, like. It's just life, I guess, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of people think that like there's a lot of like bitterness, like I guess, like towards like the music scene and the Pine Box and stuff like that. And I don't like understand that. 'Cause like I feel like I guess the only 2 people that I can really speak for and that I've really is me and Pinky, and it's only because I've talked to Pinky about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, we just got busy and like we started doing other things.
Yeah.
And like I know like that sucked, you know, for like the music scene and for the Pine Box and stuff like that. But like, it's unfortunately like it's just like the way that it is. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's just like, you know, back in the day, like of someone who was a punk or a straight edge or whatever, and then, you know, when it got a corporate job, sellout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still to this day that's what it was. It's like, I mean, at the time we weren't seeing it as that.
Yeah.
But like looking back, it's just like we were just mad because we felt like y'all were giving up, and it's like, no, y'all were just bettering yourselves. So it's like we're sitting there just saying, how dare you better your life? Fuck you.
Yeah. No, I totally see that, and I understand that too, because I think I was on like the other end of the spectrum at one point as well. Like, you know, right out of high school, whenever I was in Emerson, like our drummer got married, like, and then, you know, and not necessarily like that was like the only reason for like Emerson's breaking up, but like it had like a big part, you know, in it. Mm-hmm. And like, you know, we were set to like leave for tour, and you know, like we had, you know, all kinds of stuff planned, and then, you know, Mike, you know, got married, and like you're saying, like he decided like to better himself and to, you know, chose a different path, and like I was like really fucking pissed off for like, you know, for a long time. But now that like I'm on the other side of like the spectrum or whatever, mm-hmm. like I understand, like I get it. I'm like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? So like I get like where people were coming from like that, but at the same time, like from being on both sides, I think you can say like it's not necessarily like okay to be pissed off about that. Like, and like if there's, I guess what it comes down to is like everything in life is temporary, and like whether it be like the Pine Box or like my climbing or like my job, and like, you know, they're all like, I'm not going to do them for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always going to be like, I was talking to Amber about like, you know, the Pine Box closing, and she's like, well, how do you feel about it? And I was like, you know, like I'm not like really like as much into it now as I used to be. I said, so like in one, like to one extent I'm like, you know, like whatever, but to the other extent, like it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Because like that's a part of my past. Like
mm-hmm.
like I literally like grew out of my adolescence there. Like I like made so many friends and like grew up so fucking much, and so like just because like I'm not as much of like the Pine Box now doesn't mean that it like still like it doesn't mean something to me or as much to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, so I mean it's just it's the way that it is. You know, like life moves on, and you know, like I said, it's just because it's not as big of an influence in my life now, it doesn't mean that, you know, I don't like it, or, you know, it doesn't mean anything anymore. I don't fucking care. Like, it's not that. Like, I want that place to thrive, and I want it to be open for another 4 years, or, you know, for 10 years, forever, whatever. But, you know, I can't be the one anymore. I can't be a part of the people anymore to help that place grow, because I'm at a different place in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, to anyone, like, you know, that's, like, this Pine Box also just, it goes out to anyone who's in the local scene.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just realize that people have to grow up and leave.
Yeah. And
that's why, you know, while you're spending your time there, you should be taking these kids that are coming to shows under your wing.
Dude, for sure. I totally agree with that.
I have a huge problem with it now, because, like, we've burned so many bridges with the younger crowd just because of, you know, the younger crowd has a point whenever they do say the Pine Box is mainly a hardcore venue.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with that. But I feel like it's, I feel like that's not something that's, like, necessarily, like, a new issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, like, Pine Box being, like, a hardcore venue, but, like, whenever, like, I was, like, coming into the scene, I think I was, like, 16, like, I came in during the Red Scare days, which is really, like, I feel like it was a long time ago, but there's people who, like, you know, Einsteins and, you know, all that other shit. But, like, I didn't necessarily, like, whenever, like, I was, like, 16 and had, you know, my fucking long hair and, you know, whatever, like, I was, like, a scene kid, like, I didn't necessarily, like, feel welcomed. Like, not necessarily that I didn't feel welcomed, but, like, I didn't feel like it was home.
You weren't.
You know what I mean?
I can be honest with you, you weren't.
Yeah.
Because whenever you were getting in, I was already pretty much into the hardcore part of it. You know, like I was, like, done with my scene days and stuff, and I was like, I'm a punk rocker, I'm a fucking hardcore guy. Yeah. That's what I do. And, like, I remember, like, we would put you on shows and stuff, and we would all just make shitty jokes like, oh, let's put, like, immersive ha-ha or something like that. And it's like, what the hell? And I just remember one day, like, coming around and seeing you and Philip with, like, Chris Barlow and all them, and I was like, oh, so we're over this? Yeah. Are we done?
Well, I mean, it's weird because, like, I mean, obviously, like, that band got better towards the end. Mm-hmm. But more people liked us, and more like, we were more accepted, like, in the scene whenever we, like, because we were still, like, a metalcore band or whatever, like, towards the end. But, like, towards the end, I feel like we were, like, more hardcore than we were metal. Yeah. Kind of like metal influence, hardcore, whatever fuck genres. But, like, I felt like we were more accepted, and, like, like, that's when, like, it started to feel like home. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's a new issue. And I think that's something that's kind of hard to talk about because we're all guilty of it. Oh, yeah. We really are. Like, I'm not excluding myself from that at all because, like, I mean, I fucking hate shitty metalcore music. And it's really funny, too, because if you ever hear anybody talk about, like, metalcore, it's always shitty metalcore. It's not just metalcore. But, like, I feel like pointing the issue out and people becoming aware of it, I feel like now, because I know now that, like, I'm not the only one, you know what I mean? Like, I think now is the time that we can, like you're saying, bring, like, the younger crowd under our wing and, like, make like, the Pine Box, not necessarily, like, the Pine Box, but, like, the scene feel like home to them. Yeah. Because, I mean, man, besides, like, Houston, we have a problem with, like, those guys, like, they were, like, the last, like, young kids, like, to come into the scene. And, like, they really were, like, the only other time that, like, young kids would show up is, like, if, like, Law Dispute or Title Fight played. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, I really feel like, you know, now that we're aware of it, like, we can change it, and, like, we need to change it if, like, the scene is going to thrive the way that it used to.
Yeah. Well, like, the other day, you know, I felt like I actually got to kind of have a little breakthrough with the younger crowd and stuff, because, you know, one thing I like about them is, like, they're like, hey, we like deathcore. Yeah. We like metalcore. Fuck you. And they're like, that's so punk. Yeah. Like, if like, okay, we could be the punk hardcore guys and stuff, but, like, they're more of that because they're just like, we're gonna keep doing what we're gonna do. Yeah. And fuck you.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. And I've never, like, been like, oh, I'm a punk or whatever, or, like, hardcore, but, like, in my opinion, the most punk thing that you can do is whatever the fuck that you want. Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck if you're, like, a, like, straight-laced, like, fucking conservative Christian. Like, if you're doing what you want, like, that's punk as fuck. Yeah. And, like, that's the bottom line. So, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, like, so there's this kid, his name's Sam, and he plays in this band, I can't remember his band name. I'll have to bring it up some other time. But, like, I mean, they're a deathcore band and stuff, but I've never really been a fan and stuff. And, like, we've had arguments of, like, just because of me, like, posting, like, fuck deathcore and stuff. And, like, there's some bands that I do like, so I don't know why I ever said things like that. But, and, you know, he's had arguments. He's like, you know, I don't give a fuck about you playing hardcore. Why do you have to give a fuck about me playing deathcore? But then the other day, like, you know, I was trying to put on a house show in Lubbock, which is primarily a hardcore show, and he's putting on a primarily deathcore show. And, like, they're both house shows and stuff, but mine was in Lubbock and his was here in town in Odessa. And, like, I messaged him and I was like, hey, man, like, this is really cool that you're doing this. Keep it up. Like, please try and have as many shows as y'all can. Yeah. Keep playing. And he was like, thanks, man. I hope that y'all show goes really well, too, and I hope that, you know, you could come do some of your stuff at our thing sometime. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I would actually love to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's just, it feels right that, like, I can finally get into the younger kids and like get to them and be like, hey, we're not all like this.
Yeah.
Just come play shows and stuff. Because I love a mixed genre show.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, it's important to bridge the gap. I think it's going to take some work, though, because I feel like there's, I don't know if, like, I think I don't know if bitterness is the right word, but there's definitely, like, I don't know, angst on each side. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, it's just burned bridges, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it sucks so bad, but you know, a lot of our friends will just be like, it's all them. And I could say it's 50-50, but I honestly do believe that it's more of us, like the things that we've done, because there's something about whenever people get into hardcore, and I'm sure you know this, like, you just get like this mentality of like, yeah, this is the only thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Fucking, I want to mosh, hit people. Yeah. I'm fucking tough. Fuck the world. And then you just got to get over that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree.
I mean, like, I hindered myself from listening to so many, like, Silverstein's my all-time favorite band. Like, Discovering the Waterfront, favorite album of all time. Even listened to it today. But, like, there was, like, whenever I first got into hardcore, I was like, no, I don't listen to Silverstein. When people would ask me, like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And it's in the back of my head, like, what?
Yeah.
You like that. You know if that would play, you'd love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's always people like that, though, and not just in hardcore, but, you know, you're, like, not allowed to like certain bands or certain genres of music. And, I mean, even when I did get in, like, to hardcore or whatever, like, I don't think I guess I never got into hardcore, like, as much as, like, a lot of people in, like, the Midland scene, but, like, I was never like that. Like, I listened to everything. Like, my fucking favorite band is Under Oath, and, like, I'll still say that. And, like,
hell yeah.
Spencer Chamberlain kind of sucks as a person, and his stage presence is really weird and lame. But I fucking love that band, and, like, you know, it's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
But no, I totally agree.
Dude, awesome, man. Well, shit, man. What was it like growing up, like, with your family? Because you have both your parents, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Your parents are some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, my parents are pretty badass. Definitely wouldn't have turned out the way that I did if I didn't have my parents. But no, I had a really good childhood. I was very overprotected by my mom. My dad was definitely like do whatever, like, the fuck you want, but don't get in trouble. Which I guess is kind of good, because I had, like, the freedom to do what I want, but at the same time I had, like, the never go too far, you know, like with my mom. So, but no, I had, like, a really good childhood. I don't know, I guess I was just, like, your average kid up until, like, 14, and then I got into church, and then my teen years were full of church and God and all that, and then...
So was there not much rebellion towards your parents?
Not really, because I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Like Emerson, for example, like, I was in that band since I was, like, fucking, like, 15 or 16. And, like, I didn't have a job until I graduated high school, and, like, my dad bought, like, our Emerson trailer, and like, they were just super fucking supportive on, like, what I wanted to do. Because, I mean, like, in ninth grade, I wore, like, button down, like, fucking collared shirts and, like, stonewashed jeans and, like, Doc Martens. And then, like, 10th grade, like, I was a fucking scene kid. Like, you know, changed overnight.
Yeah.
And, like, my parents, you know, like, most parents would be like, well, what the fuck's going on? They're like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, you know, whatever, do whatever makes you happy. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's awesome.
They've always been super supportive of, like, whatever I want to do. So, yeah. But...
Are they fans of heavy music themselves? Because,
no.
I mean, y'all are playing some heavy stuff.
No, they are not. They are not fans of heavy music. They never liked the music, but they're
just a fan of you.
Yeah, they're a fan of me, exactly. So
dude, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and they actually showed up to shows and stuff like that, which is really fucking cool. But yeah, they're awesome people for sure.
What do you have to say to someone who's, like, having to go through something like that, where, like, they, you know, they don't have that support? Because, I mean, you can see both sides of it, right? Because
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. You mean in life in general, or in music?
Yeah, and just in life, having to go through, like, their parents not understanding them and stuff. Because you're a person who actually has that.
Yeah.
And not a lot of us do.
Yeah, man, I really don't know. I don't know if that's like a question for me. I think, I guess like for most people going through that, and, you know, dealing with stuff like that are like people in like their teenage years, or you know, anywhere between like 12 and 15, 16, whatever. I mean, that's just fucking a weird time for anybody. Like, I had like the support of my parents and, you know, whatever, but I still didn't know who the fuck I was. And, you know, even like now I'm still changing. So I feel like it's important, like, if you don't have like the support of your parents, or, you know, the support of really anybody, like, it's important to remember that, like, where you're at in life now isn't where you're going to be at in life in a year or 2 years, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Not like I said before, like nothing lasts forever. So.
Nice, man. All right, well, we're hitting about almost an hour here. Do you have anything that you'd like to plug? For people who don't know, this is the guy who records Oakwood.
Yeah, listen to Oakwood for sure. I think it's Oakwood Texas Bandcamp.com. I don't really know. Google Oakwood, listen to them. They're badass. They're about to come out with a 4-way split, and I think they might be doing another split too, actually.
Nice.
But I don't know that for sure. But yeah, they're badass, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Do you plan to make that something, like recording more bands?
Man, I want to. I
mean, you recorded the Callous stuff and like it came out awesome, and like the Oakwood just sounds even better, like with time, you know?
Yeah.
Like you owned your craft.
Man, it's what I wanted to do after high school. And I was going to go to school for it, but it's just one of those like professions, or one of those things that, one, if you want to own your own studio, you have to have money to do it, and two, if you want just to do it in general, it's a very, it's like a who you know. Do you know what I mean? And I don't have the personality to, I guess, like to market myself and to get to know a lot of people. So I feel like even though maybe I'm necessarily like good at recording, like I'm not good at the other part of the business, which I feel like you have to be good at to be successful. So I feel like it's something that I enjoy and that I'll continue to enjoy, but I don't know if that it's ever something that I'll ever do professionally, just because of that reason.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, I guess, like friends come and ask, and you're just like, yeah, let's get this done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sooner or later, I want to get like more legit stuff, because I mean, right now I'm recording with like a Porta Studio like 8-track like thing, and I mean, it's cool, but it's not. There's obviously better shit out there, so sooner or later, hopefully. But.
Dude, nice, man. Well, this has been like a great fucking time, I think.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree.
I mean, I love getting to see people that I don't get to see as much, you know? Like, we're all growing up and fucking splitting off.
Yeah.
Like, I might not even be in this town next year.
Yeah, and then everybody's moving. It sucks. It really does.
Yeah. So, like, I'm just glad I get to have these, like, I mean, I guess mainly these are just, like, archives for me.
Yeah.
Like, I will end up getting people that I've never met on the show, so then those will become friends.
Yeah.
Like, the South by interviews, you know, I became friends with Chris Graves and Narrowed, like, that night. But, I mean, just, like, I love having these archives of, like, my friends that I've been with for years.
For sure.
Well, Lee, this has been Clayton Chauncey Drugan. You want to say bye or something?
Later.